10 Minute Jazz Lesson Podcast, episode 359. Hey everybody, welcome back to episode 359 of the 10 Minute Jazz Lesson Podcast. So glad to have you back, and if you're new around here, welcome in. Thrilled to have you here. So this week we are going to continue our series on getting started with odd time signatures, and we're finally going to be playing and improvising over an odd time signature. So this one's going to be a really fun one. I've written a tune for you, and you're going to get to play over the blues in 5/4. So it should be a blast. Before we jump into the show, as always, just want to remind you this is a listener-supported show. We rely on people just like you to keep the podcast going, coming out week in and week out in high quality. And we do that through the form of a small monthly donation. And in return for that donation, you do get a PDF and audio examples with every single episode, along with all of the back episodes. So if you want to support us, we do use the Patreon platform. You can go to our website, 10minutejazzlesson.com, click on one of the Patreon banners, go over there and find out all the information and get yourself signed up today. Alternatively, you can go to patreon.com, search up the 10 Minute Jazz Lesson Podcast, and you can sign up there as well. I want to give a quick shout out to some new people who have joined the 10 Minute Jazz Lesson family this week. Thank you to our new $5 patrons, Sylvie, Matthew, and Todd. And thank you to our new $3 patrons, Hiroki and Jonathan. So happy you decided to join up, and I hope that you are enjoying those jazz education materials. And of course, to the over 350 people we have supporting us, thank you. We could not do this without you. So again, 10minutejazzlesson.com, click on one of the Patreon banners, or simply go to patreon.com and search up 10 Minute Jazz Lesson Podcast. All right, so we've talked about a ton of stuff over the past bunch of episodes in terms of, getting ready to play over these odd time signatures. The one thing that we kind of haven't done in a real sense, like in an organic sense, is actually play over any odd time signatures. So that's what we're going to do today. So if you've listened to the other episodes in this series, which I highly recommend doing before you listen to this one, you'll notice that there's a little bit of a theme. It's taking something familiar and tweaking it to an odd time signature, or doing something different to make it a little bit unfamiliar. And in that way, what we do is we rely on all the things that we're already good at while sort of venturing into this new world of playing over odd time signatures. And I really believe that this is one of the best ways to learn in general, is to lean on something that you're already good at, but introduce some new, more advanced, more scary topics as you go. You start sprinkling them in little by little by little. And we're going to continue that theme today, but this time we are actually going to learn a melody, and we're going to do some improvising in 5/4 time. So our first, kind of truly odd time signature, where we're going to actually make some stuff up. So our form of something familiar is going to be the fact that we're going to play a blues, a B-flat blues, but we're just going to play it in 5/4. And what I've done is I've written a little melody, so you'll have the chance to play something written when we first start jumping into this. And then at the end of the day, you're going to start improvising over this blues in 5/4. So you won't have to worry about the form very much, and you can play all the chord changes, or you can simply take like a pentatonic scale or a blues scale, and you could just use that. So again, the beauty of this approach is that this assignment or this episode or this thing that we're doing can kind of meet you where you're at. And I highly recommend going with the simple thing first. So if you're somebody who has like never played over an odd time signature before, never improvised, never done anything over 5/4 before, what I would do is I would start by just playing a simple pentatonic scale of this blues. You don't have to think about where you are in the form, and you're just getting used to it. Another thing that's going to happen to all of you that I just want to say up front is that you're not going to sound amazing the first time that you do this. Okay, especially if you've never done it before. So just get that out of your head. It's not going to be like, oh, I'm a natural at this. This stuff is weird. And that's a part of it, is sort of getting over that initial, oh, this is strange. I've never done this before. Okay, so just be prepared for that, be ready for it, and don't expect to sound like your usual amazing self when you start doing this. Okay, so what I've done is I've prepared a little cheesy backing track for you that I made myself for this blues, and it's basically just some percussion instruments and me playing the piano semi poorly, but it's going to be a great vehicle for us to do something in 5/4 at a slow tempo over the blues. So what I want to do first is I want to just play one chorus of what the 5/4 actually sounds like and what the backing track will sound like behind you, just so you can get used to what it's going to be. And then I will play the melody and do a little improvisation over the top of this. And if you're a Patreon member, you will also get the backing track and all that good stuff so that you can start to experiment with this. But let's start with just the backing track with nothing else so you can start hearing what it sounds like to play in that 5/4 and how this blues will be familiar yet new and challenging all at the same time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So hopefully that will sound pretty familiar to you in terms of the chord progression. I mean, it is just a really, really simple B flat blues in 5/4. But there's that extra beat, there's that 5, right? And that's what you're really, really, really going to have to get used to when it comes to actually doing something over this. So go back and listen to that as many times as you need to so that you start hearing that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And even though you don't think so right now, that is going to become, if you've practiced it enough, very natural. It'll probably never be as natural as 4/4, just because, we've grown up on that. We've been doing it kind of our whole lives. But it is going to become much more natural than it is now if this is your first foray into this kind of thing. So if it's intimidating right now, all you need to do is just keep doing it, keep getting used to it a little bit more each time. And I promise you that eventually it will not be a thing that makes you uncomfortable anymore. It will start to feel better and better and better and better. And then eventually you won't even have to think about it. Okay. All right. So what I have done is I've written a little head. Now, I've totally ripped off one of my favorite musicians who also wrote a blues head in B flat. And I think you'll hear it pretty much right away. And if you're a Patreon member, the title of the song will give it away almost instantly as well. But what I've done is I've written a little melody that I'm going to play twice, and then I'm going to improvise over the top of this for 2 choruses, and this is what I suggest you do as well. It'll challenge you to read some music in 5/4, and it will also challenge you to make up your own solo in 5/4. Both fantastic things. So here is my tune and a little bit of improvising for you, and you will get this backing track if you're a Patreon member. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so there you have it. I think all of you are going to have a ton of fun with this. I know that I do when I'm playing over this. And I hope that can provide you just some kind of jumping off point to doing what we do in jazz, which is make stuff up, is improvise. And I think this is a pretty low pressure way to do it and start getting your head wrapped around it and make it a thing that you can do on a regular basis. Okay. Next week, we're going to talk about another familiar thing, making it unfamiliar. We're going to take the tune to a jazz standard and put it into an odd time signature. And that is going to be really fun. That's one of my favorite things to do. So remember, grab everything that we went over today at Patreon, 10minutejazzlesson.com. Click on one of the Patreon banners or go to patreon.com, search for the 10-Minute Jazz Lesson, and you can get signed up and get access to all these materials the moment you sign up. And we really do appreciate your support. We could not do this show without you. Hope you're all staying safe and healthy out there, and we will see you next week with a brand new episode. Have a good one, everybody. Bye.